victim of the recent attack.
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all-clear signal before exiting your homes. That is all.
If you're with the press, we have no statements. Make a...
We'll get through this. Together.
Constellation has suffered losses before.
Now
although
really isn't the
not
time.
quite so
I know.
violently.
Look, we all feel like we've been kicked into the ground 1,000,000 times over, but I think I have something. I'm serious. If I may, I know our encounter with the Hunter is the last thing anyone wants to talk about right now, but he said something that I can't get out of my mind. Unity. Do you remember that? Because he was stopping us, implying that we were getting closer to it. The thing is, I've heard that word before. It's an important concept in Keeper Aquilas's speeches.
The priest? Is the Sanctum Universum going to bless our little crusade of discovery?
It can't be a coincidence. The Sanctum has always believed that answers are out there in the stars. Look, I know it's the longest of shots and the biggest leap of faith I could ever ask us all to take, but why not talk to him?
There's no harm in gathering more information. A visit to the Sanctum might actually be quite enlightening.
Thank you. I know it's not much to go on, but something about this feels right. I'll meet you over there.
Thank you for helping me out with the artifacts.
Everyone seems more distant in the lodge. I guess that is to be expected.
No more Starborn have shown up.
To think the Lodge turned...
I've met so many interesting people.
It's amazing to think that this tree predates New Atlantis. Can you imagine all the changes it's seen?
Yes, exactly. It's like...
When someone insults you, you want to just beat the shit out of them sometimes, but you don't.
Well, not quite what I was thinking, but that's actually a great example, Marcus. The man in the story was cruel. Do you know why he was cruel? You must feel what he feels. Understand his pain. Accept it. And deliver it not back upon him.
Empathy. You mean empathy? But you say it like it's easy. Like anyone can just love a terrible person who has been terrible to them.
Yeah, why even bother? I mean, isn't the cycle of humanity peace and war back and forth, like forever? Seems kind of pointless to try so hard for something that won't last. Nothing ever really changes.
It's not easy, no, but necessary. Because you see, everything has changed. God has given us the intelligence,
He's giving me a lot to think about. Oh, hi there. I'm Marcus Lestari. Are you interested in the Sanctum Universum? Glad to hear it. It's an exciting time for the church. We're growing every day, and we've been getting more interested visitors lately, too. Actually, we've had a few visitors come by recently, but they have yet to come visit us again. This strikes me as a good opportunity. I'm wondering, would you like to go check in with those visitors and welcome them back to our church? Maybe all they need is just another invitation. And don't worry, I'll pay for your effort, of course. Excellent. Their names were Tony, Evie, and Johan. When you check in with them, give them one of these slates. It's just a little something welcoming them back, if they're interested. If you want, take some time to talk with them, get to know them and why they were interested in the Sanctum Universum. In any case, when you're done, come back to me and I'll give you your payment.
We should talk to the Keeper.
Aquilus has helped me through some tough times lately.
Keeper Aquilus, can we have a moment?
Ah, Matteo. It's been too long. How are your parents? Your mother still struggling with that azalea garden?
No, she figured that out a while ago. Had to adjust the pH levels in the soil. But, Keeper, I didn't come to catch up.
Oh. Well, what's on both your minds?
Keeper, we were hoping to talk to you about unity.
You want to subject your friend here to one of our talks, Matteo? The future of humanity is always a long discussion.
No, that's not exactly what I meant. Keeper, when you talk about unity, well, does it mean anything else? Something secret?
Perhaps you should talk about this inside.
I'll meet you inside.
We should continue this conversation inside. Oh, it's very easy to lose yourself focusing on others. Life can be a distraction sometimes from your own growth, your spiritual development. Does that sound right? So this is a practical matter. Nothing wrong with that. The good news is, you can change. All of us can. It's not easy. And you already made the first step, being self-aware. Of course. Come back when you're ready. Head inside. We'll talk more there. Well, we're a newer organization, at least officially. Our facility here in New Atlantis has only been around a few decades. But we're gaining new members all the time. I think people have been grasping for something to express what they're experiencing, and I'm glad we can be here for them. Keeper by title. But yes, I suppose the title fits. I'm very grateful that I have the opportunity to be here for those who need us, who find meaning in our message. The Sanctum will always be here for those who seek it. Now that we have a little privacy, why don't you tell me exactly what it is that brought you two here?
They're like nothing we've ever seen, Keeper. Gravitational distortion, sub-audio harmonic sequencing, unidentifiable energy fluctuations.
I caught half of that. So, these things are unusual? Even in your experience? There have always been mysteries that seem to defy our understanding of the universe. Beyond rational thought. We enter life as an act of someone else's faith in us. There's no way of knowing who we will become, and yet the risk is made anyway. So you've pushed into the unknown, not knowing where it would take you. And it's brought you here. I think I can. If you're willing to find your way in the dark for a bit longer, I can give you a path to discovering its meaning. There's an old story, far older than the Sanctum Universum, of someone who walked the settled systems and saw every corner of it. This pilgrim claimed he found the true meaning of unity. I always thought of it as just a parable for trying to bring humanity together, but maybe it's more. In my story, the pilgrim met the founders of the House of Enlightenment and the enigmatic cult of the Varun, and he gave them each a part of the truth. Then he goes to his final resting place to live out the rest of his days in contemplation of infinitum addendum, his addition or contribution to the infinite. But what if the story isn't a metaphor, but a code, a way of finding the pilgrim again, or at least his grave? Yes, something must be there. I just can't put my finger on it. Maybe the answer will become clear when we have more. The House of Enlightenment and Varun have versions of this story. The Enlightened work out of the well here in New Atlantis, helping the poorest citizens find a better life for themselves. Varun worshippers are more enigmatic, but there is a lone zealot that was captured recently for attacking UC ships. I visited her a couple of times. Hopefully she'll be willing to talk to you as well.
I'll stay here with the Keeper. We need to catch up. And I wouldn't mind asking him a few more questions. I'll stay here while you gather the other pilgrim stories.
Varun and the Enlightened have... May God go with you.
It's a shame House Varun abandoned their embassy. I bet we could have learned a lot from one another. Something you might be interested in.
Just one quiet day. As a tracker agent, my duty is to inform and advise.
We don't mean to be intrusive. Any information you could provide would be very useful.
If it's about the financial or food assistance programs, we are backlogged. Don't worry, we're doing everything we can. Oh, we're not. Sorry. Can I help you?
We don't mean to be intrusive. Any information you could provide would be very useful.
Listen, I've talked about this with him a ton of times, and there's no record of a Unity pilgrim. But since you both insist, our early records are mostly administrative. Humanitarian projects, group counseling notes, charity expenditures. But there is a series of exchanges the founding members recorded in a lot of detail. It's the closest thing I have to what Aquilus is describing. A man walks into the first House of Enlightenment. The founding members just call him the Drifter. So they think he's a charity case at first, but no, the Drifter asks them a bunch of questions. If your philosophy is built on an individual's own morality, what about the second person? That second person might disagree. Isn't the problem of two what you're really looking for? And the founders respond, each individual must understand how the second person lifts them up. All of human effort is a story of cooperation pushing us forward. And it kind of goes on like that. He comes back every week for a year. Same conversation every time. Second person this, the problem of two that. It's part of our core principles. There's no God pushing us to do good for some eternal reward. We have to help each other because we choose to. If no one takes responsibility for making the settled systems better, then we're just leaving it to the tyrants to bully the rest of us. Honestly, I think the founding members made it all up. There was a little more hesitation being openly atheist in the early days. I think they were experimenting with writing their own scripture. Fortunately, that got abandoned pretty quick. After the records of the Drifter end, you never see anything like it again. Besides what the Keeper would say about it, sounds like a gathering point, or a center. Or in mathematics, it would mean one, like the one, the first or the beginning. Always happy to help. If you'll excuse me, I've got a lot of aid efforts to coordinate.
My mother wanted me to be a doctor. Mothers, am I right?
Security scanners, chemical sniffers. The United Colonies sure isn't taking any chances.
Looks like you got some fines to clear up. I've got special orders. You're coming with me. Prepare for immediate transport to our vessel. I've been authorized to inform you that you're being transferred to the UC Vigilance. You'll find out more when you get there. Other than that, I'm not at liberty to divulge any additional information. Smart decision. Stand by to be transferred.
Just give the word and we'll get underway.
I'm telling you, the commander's got plans for this loser. Why else would he be going through all this trouble? I still don't understand why he trusts a criminal. Seems like too much of a risk. Stop worrying and keep an eye on our guest. I'll be right back. You just sit tight. The commander wants to have a little chat. The prisoner's ready, sir. I hope you're comfortable. We have a lot to discuss. I'm your ticket out of the mess you've gotten yourself into. That's all you need to know for now. Highly perceptive. Let me add that to your list of skills. Speaking of which, let's see what we're working with here. Pretty unremarkable past. Not much to speak of there. I also see that you mined on Vectera, and now you're with Constellation. You've certainly been quite busy. Oh, and look at that. Right at the bottom of this list is the criminal incident that landed you in my crosshairs. Good. You'll find that I'm a stickler for details, and I'd hate to discover that your file is incomplete. Now that we have that out of the way, let me introduce myself. My name is Commander Kibwe Ikande, and I'm in charge of this operation for UC SysDev. Are you familiar with what we do? United Colonies System Defense. Does that help you figure out exactly what it is we do? UC SysDev is a division of the UC Navy. While they handle the big picture stuff, we deal with a very particular problem. The Crimson Fleet. That convict is where you enter the picture. Are we really playing this game? The pirates, like the ones you tangled with on Vectera? Please stop pretending you have no idea what I'm talking about. On the books, they maintain combat-ready spaceborne forces to deter aggression and ensure the safety of the United Colonies. What all that fancy claptrap means is that they're the ones who fight in the wars to keep our territories secure. Smart decision. We've been prodding at the Crimson Fleet for years, trying to take them down one ship at a time. But we barely scratched the surface. If we can get someone on the inside, we'll have a shot at finding a loose thread we can pull to bring it all down. Not for me. For yourself. Look, I'm going to make this simple. Agree to work for UC SysDev, and together we take down the Crimson Fleet. Refuse, and I tell these guys to throw you into the nearest lockup. Might even tack on an extra few hundred credits to your fine. Of course you have a choice. It's just stacked in my favor. So, what do you say? You going to work with me, or should I find someone else? If I didn't think you had a chance, I would have left you in lockup. You're just going to have to follow your instincts and trust me. Smart choice. I'm going to have one of my men escort you to the operations center. I strongly suggest that you don't give him any trouble. And don't bother trying to leave the ship. I think you'll find all access to the docking area is fully restricted.
Let's go.
Yes.
So, you took the op instead of serving the time. Gonna be the commander's new role, huh? Going in all alone, infiltrating a bunch of pirates. You've got a lot of guts. Hey. Still, it makes you wonder, especially with the stories that go around. Like the one about how the fleet deals with informants by lashing them to the hull of a ship, and then slowly letting the air out of their suit. Could you imagine a worse way to go? I know I couldn't. But I wouldn't worry about it. Since the commander handpicked you, I'm guessing you can hold your breath for a really long time, right?
Hello.
Ikande's on level 2. Try not to touch anything until he actually clears you.
I've got nothing to say to you, convict. Alright, this is as far as I go. Take the lift up to Ops. Commander Ikande should be waiting for you.
Yes? Wherever the Crimson Fleet go, we'll follow. Excuse me.
Your priority right now is being briefed by Commander Akande. We'll talk later.
Hey, Kay. Hello.
I'm a bit busy at the moment, but we'll talk later, okay?
Yes?
Pardon me. Ah, there you are. Excellent. Now that we've established your level of cooperation with us, I want to introduce you to your new home. This is the Operations Center of the UC Vigilance. SysDef's nerve center, dedicated to the destruction of the Crimson Fleet. Whether this ship is impressive or not, you're the key element that we've been lacking. We need eyes and ears inside the Crimson Fleet. Someone who can feed us information, evidence, and expose their weaknesses. The catch is that you can't just knock on their front door and ask for an application. Getting inside is going to take some finesse. Good. I have just the right place for you to start. Our intelligence has managed to find a possible opening into the Crimson Fleet through Saoirse Bowden, one of their contacts. She works for the Trade Authority in Sidonia, so you'll be using a container of Aurora we've loaded on your ship to get her attention. That's classified. Suffice to say that the smuggler who was previously holding it will be spending the rest of their life in prison. Aurora is a Class A controlled substance that's illegal to transport outside of Neon, a city on Volai. Get caught with this stuff aboard a ship and you're looking at some serious fines. You'd better hope so. Saoirse won't be easy to dupe. Once you bluff your way into the Crimson Fleet, then the operation proceeds to evidence gathering. That's where my second-in-command, Lieutenant Gillian Toft, comes into the picture. She'll explain everything you need to know. If I didn't have confidence in your abilities, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Remember, this entire operation rests on your ability to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet and bring us the evidence we need to take them down. I wouldn't expect any less. Look, before you begin, I want to make something perfectly clear. As an undercover operative for UC SysDef, You'll be expected to follow our code of conduct and ethics. Allow yourself to stray too far off the path, and you stand a good chance of spiraling out of control. To put it simply, you can't go into every situation with guns blazing. Think before you act. Calculate what you're doing and pull the trigger only when it's absolutely necessary. At the end of the day, your primary goal is taking down the Crimson Fleet. That's the greater good. That's what I wanted to hear. Anyway, it's time to hand you over to Lieutenant Toft. She'll brief you about the details of the evidence-gathering portion of the operation. Now, get out of here, and good luck. That's easy to answer. You don't. We'll be monitoring your activities from the Vigilance and attempting to keep it within your vicinity. When you feel you've gathered enough evidence, and at the completion of your assignments, head back here for a debrief. Beyond that, you're completely on your own. All we know is that she's been with the Trade Authority for years, which means she's been privy to some seriously shady deals. She's shrewd and she's diligent. The only reason we were able to connect her with the Crimson Fleet at all was thanks to an informant. I'm afraid she's the best lead we've got. For your own safety, nobody but myself and the crew of the Vigilance will be aware that you're working for the United Colonies. Basically, if you land in jail, you're going to have to deal with the fines. While you're running with the Crimson Fleet, you're undoubtedly going to be faced with some morally gray decisions. It's going to be difficult for you to weigh the consequences of pulling the trigger while maintaining your cover. Do what you have to do, but remember why you're out there in the first place. Then you do what you have to do. The Crimson Fleet has the potential to kill hundreds, even thousands of people per year. If it takes a few deaths to maintain your cover, then so be it. But only as an absolutely final resort. This is not a licensed killing spree. Understood? Dismissed.
All right, we don't have a lot of time, so I need you to listen up. While you're working undercover, it's imperative that you gather as much evidence as possible. If you find any records that look suspicious or incriminating, you bring it to me. Is that understood? Well, since it isn't every day we stumble across a criminal's fully written confession, we need to build a case against our suspects. The more evidence we acquire, the stronger our case becomes. And knowing the Crimson Fleet, they'll leave plenty of evidence for you to find. Well, you better. Commander Akande's entire operation is resting on your shoulders. I want data slates, computer downloads, handwritten notes. Hell, I'll take anything if it'll get those bastards thrown into the brig. For the sake of the settled systems, I hope you're right. That minor skirmish you had with them on Vectera was nothing compared to the death and destruction those pirates leave behind. If you've seen what I've seen, you'd understand why I'm pushing you so hard. That's all we're asking. Oh, before you go, there's one more thing. Commander Akande has authorized a credit disbursement for each piece of evidence that you return, as compensation for your efforts. It's not generous, it's motivational. Commander Akande's idea. All right, we've loaded a container of Aurora into your ship's cargo hold. We're also providing you with a sample you can use to tease the goods. We've cleared your ship for launch. Proceed to Sidonia. Make contact with Saoirse Bowden, and with any luck, she'll point you to the Crimson Fleet. That should do it. You're dismissed. Not really, no. I've learned to keep my personal experiences separate from the job. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate that you care. It's just that I don't feel like now's an appropriate time to be discussing these things. Let's just stick to the job at hand and concentrate on the mission. But, maybe we can talk about it some other time, okay? We'll be keeping them close at hand until this operation is complete. So, we'll be holding them in the Vigilance's brig. If you're feeling particularly ruthless, you could always head down there and say hello. I'm sure they'll be thrilled to see you. Don't worry, the container's been registered with UC Security, so you shouldn't have any trouble. Even if you're scanned. Of course, if we find out you tried to sell it to someone outside the boundaries of this particular operation, well, I don't think I need to tell you the consequences of making that mistake. We'll be here if you need us.
Is there anything else I can answer before you have your orders?
Howdy.
Hello.
Yes.
What?
What?
Right away, or do you need a little bit of time? I have things for you.
Keep your nose clean. I've flown across most of the settled systems in all manners of spacecraft, and yet I still get sick all the time.
How's the investigation going? Still have questions? Go ahead and ask. Yeah, we all got friends who need things. But we've also got rules and regulations, and I'm not going to bend them. Your friend can file a request like everyone else. Let me know if you have any questions. How's the investigation going? Well, Just because you're bringing it here doesn't mean that's where it'll end up. As for why, you can ask Aegis. As far as I'm concerned, it's none of my business. Take care.
Hill, hi. How you doing? You're out there a lot, right? In space? Just do us all a favor and never turn into one of those spacers. Scum of the galaxy. Robbing, stealing, killing. Even the
A visitor?
fleet don't trust them.
I have all the company I need. He knows not the truth. He sends another to ask more incessant questions.
Perhaps you should hear us out before you decide to cast judgment.
The Great Serpent waits in the shadows. He will entwine the universe, and all but the faithful will be made as dust. That is the truth. No more, no less.
Anything you could tell us would be tremendously helpful.
Yes, I have spoken to your keeper about this. I will tell you what I told him, and then you will leave me. Jinan Varun meets the unbeliever. He gives false prophecy to Jinan. But such is Jinan's conviction in the Great Serpent, he does not hesitate. He cuts the unbeliever down. But the unbeliever returns. Jinan realizes the Great Serpent is testing him, and he will not be found wanting. 4 times they fight. Over 120 rotations of the planet they are on. Remember these 4 battles, Jinan, the unbeliever says. Remember these 120 rotations. But Jinan knows this is blasphemy, and delivers the killing blow. That is all. Strength and conviction show your worthiness to the Great Serpent. The kill is not as important as showing there is no doubt. I grow tired of speaking. Leave me.
Contrary to what you might have heard, UC security personnel are good people. And Sergeant Yumi just happens to be an old friend.
Wow, you look completely different.
I feel...
Well, you're back. What did you learn? Was there something hidden in their stories, like we thought? Planets are often named by number. That second might mean the second planet in the system. What else did you learn? If there really is a location the Pilgrim wanted us to find, those do sound awfully like coordinates. Was there anything else? Yes. What he added to infinity. Maybe that points to a name. If we're looking for his resting place, we'd need to know the name of the star system, wouldn't we? Let's see. We have something that could be coordinates. Something that could point to a planet in the system. But what's the name of the system? Infinitum addendum. What if we break down the parts? No systems named finite or add. That just leaves in and dumb. Well, that's certainly how I feel. Yes, that's it. The second planet in Indium, at 4 and 120. That's where you'll find the Pilgrim's resting place. And from there, maybe you'll find the true meaning of unity. Before you go, you've now spoken to many different perspectives in our universe. In a way, you'll be carrying their philosophies with you on this journey. I know you're looking for a specific unity, but if you had to guess what it was, what interpretation would you give it? But what makes something like that holy? Gravity is also a force that brings things together. Should that be sanctified? It is one of the great contradictions of belief. We feel the presence of something out there, but we insist that it is also everywhere. So you think this word unity describes that divine unknowableness that the Pilgrim searched for?
Ancient humans thought the concept of gravity was miraculous. Until we know more about the unity, we also could be jumping to the wrong conclusions.
Well, I won't keep you any longer. This has been fun, I have to admit. Go, find your truth. Go, find the truth. The sanctum will always be here for those who seek.
Right, let's get this crate into space. Look at this world. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. Whoever lived at this homestead seemed to have settled in for the long haul.